Mark Rogers TV talking Pac-12 football, less than 2 weeks away from the Stanford spring game. We bring in Nick Dempsey from Rule of Tree to help us sort out a few little issues on the Cardinal front, but specifically, Nick, we've got a quarterback situation, and anytime you've got a veteran starter, very successful, won a ton of games in Kevin Hogan, hey, it's kind of wide open from there typically, and you got Keller Chryst and Ryan Burns battling for the position.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting spring and summer for those two. David Shaw has come right out and said, we're going to overload these guys with way more than we think they can handle, and we're going to see how they respond. He's also made it very clear, and this is his style, he's not going to really say anything. He's not going to give updates. Oh, this guy had a good day at practice on Thursday, but this guy did better on Friday. He's not going to turn it into like a media circus horse race type of thing. But it's a position that, you know, they've had a lot of stability and obviously a lot of success. Hogan was there for what felt like forever and did very well. And before that, obviously, Andrew Luck did okay for himself. I believe Burns has a bit more years in the system, but Chryst has took a majority of the sort of backup or cleanup snaps last year. So whatever you want to glean from that, you can. But right now, it's kind of a neck and neck race, and they're just not. They're going to keep us in the dark until probably mid-August. He said he's going to announce mid to late August. So on that front, there's two young men at Stanford working very hard right now to see who's going to be quarterback.
I think they're joined by quite a few people there at Stanford working pretty hard right now.
Maybe just a couple, yeah.
Hitting the books rather than the blocking sleds, most of them.
Yeah.
Keller Chryst, a 4-star.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Burns as a redshirt junior. He came in as a 4-star and a guy that we're not necessarily going to see this season, but as you well know, they brought in KJ Costello, a 4-star recruit. So although Stanford known for producing quarterbacks, I don't know that they've had this kind of depth at this elite level at quarterback. So the odds say that one of them out of the three of the next few years should turn out to be a successful guy under center.
You would think. And it always helps having Christian McCaffrey to hand the ball off to.
Yeah, he can break those guys in the first few games. You would think that, if he's running for 225, that if they're throwing 12 for 18, that should be able to get the job done. That is a tremendous help when you don't have to wing it 35 times and you've got a running game and everybody focusing on that guy. Defensive line as part of a front seven, kind of in addition to the running game. I know we've talked quarterbacks, but it's been the running game and the front seven on defense that's been at the forefront of this Stanford emergence under Harbaugh and Shaw. But the D-line may have a few issues replacing some guys.
Yeah, David Shaw, well, every football team has to win the box usually to win a football game. But I think Stanford probably more so than anyone has really invested their success in winning the box. So it's always important for them in particular when they lose guys like Blake Martinez, the linebacker, Aziz Shatu, and some other guys. They kind of felt it last season because they had a few key injuries throughout the year, and they had to switch to sort of a bend but don't break style. So they've got to essentially reload on defense and get back to winning the box and getting pressure. And it's sort of the same on the offensive side of the ball. They've got guys like Kyle Murphy and the absolute stud Joshua Garnett that they have to replace. Now, we have this conversation with Stanford every year. Last year, it was guy after guy after guy. And Andres Pete, for example, every year we have this conversation. Every year someone else seems to step up. But they're losing a lot of talent in the box on both sides of the ball. And I think most importantly this spring is breaking in some new guys who can help them win the line of scrimmage. That's, I think, that honestly, I would not be surprised if that was an even bigger focus for David Shaw than the quarterback competition was.
Yeah, and Solomon Thomas is a guy that's going to be counted upon as well quite a bit coming into this season. He's a guy that racked up a few sacks last year as well on that Stanford front. All right, quarterback wide open. David Shaw giving us nothing. We'll see the spring game coming up in less than 2 weeks, and we can come up with our own thoughts. And he may be pushed to give up something following the results and the performance in the spring game of these two quarterbacks.
They'll push him. I don't know if we'll hand him anything. I've seen the man answer a question with nothing but a smile. Literally just smiled and then said next question. So he's pretty slick when it comes to some of these questions from the media. But you can get away with it on the farm, I guess.
And you can get away with it when you've got his record.
Yeah. I think he's earned the benefit of the doubt at this point.
All right, Nick Dempsey on the line from Rule of Tree, helping us sort out Stanford football with the is it the garnet and white? Am I properly identifying the colors for the spring game?
Garnet or Cardinal?
Well, it would make sense, Cardinal and white, wouldn't it? Garnet would be that other team down south.
Yeah.
My bad on that one. The Cardinal and white game. I was going to call it the red and white game, and then I was searching for my more exotic shades of red, and I grabbed the wrong one. So I didn't go with the obvious. The Cardinal and white game coming up for Stanford on April 9th. All right, Nick, thanks so much.
Have a good one.